Did you, now, that famous interview, I'm not a New Yorker, but obviously I saw it because it reached national
Absolutely.
news.
I think everyone saw that one.
I mean, that went all around the world, that interview.
We broke records that day.
Do
Absolutely.
you guys have any regrets, though, from
No,
either side?
people that came out to me and I say, wait a second. First of all, nobody in the world is going to turn A-Rod away when he shows up at your door and he wants to come on.
Mike, tell me how that happened. You're in your show and your producer says, I think A-Rod's on his way.
Well, you call one of your guys, I don't know which one it was, said
you put me
A-Rod
on?
is on his way, and he just walked out of the hearing, and he's coming to the show.
But you had to approve it. You had to say yes or no.
I didn't approve with the station. I said, he's on.
You want him,
I wanted you. And I said, and I've said to everybody, there's not a person in the world that wouldn't take that interview. And listen, as you go back, and I always say, I have no problems with this interview. I got killed as much as A-Rod. But what people didn't realize, they were angry about the result. I asked A-Rod, if you go back and look, 12 times. I said, A-Rod, this is going to stick with you for the rest of your life. Okay, here's your chance. And he was defiant, okay, about the whole thing. And that wasn't my job to be judge and juror. My job was to ask the questions. I asked the question 100 times. You can go back and look at it. I have not a problem with that. And that's the mindset he was in then, okay? He was angry. He was upset. And what I became a target as much as him. I got attacked for months and months and months because I was easy on A-Rod and I gave him a safe haven, this and that. My big argument with baseball, and they were furious at me, was that I felt they singled him out. Not that he wasn't guilty, just like a guy like Robbie Cano is a good kid. He's guilty now, okay? We know that. I was not trying to say whether A-Rod was guilty or innocent. I was saying, hey, I can line 100 other guys up here. I've had players tell me 250, 300 guys are doing steroids. I've had guys tell me off the record even more than that have done it. I don't know what the true number is. None of us do. I felt he was singled out because it was a way for baseball, if they persecuted this guy, a Yankee, and a guy who's as big a star as there is, this was a way for them to cleanse themselves. When they've been as big they were as much of the problem as anybody else because, listen, they didn't stop the players. Here's what baseball did, and that's why baseball's full of garbage with this whole thing. What they did was they struck and ruined the sport. They destroyed their own sport. And what they did is they let McGwire and Sosa bring them back with a home run chase when everybody in the world knew McGwire was doing steroids. He had it in his locker room. Yeah. So they didn't care one day. They embraced it like it was the greatest story of all time, and so did every media guy, except everybody at the time knew they all were doing steroids. We didn't care. Well, we didn't care then. How come it was the worst thing that ever happened? Why was he Al Capone 3 years later or 4 years later? That was my problem.
Yeah. Do you have regrets from that? I mean, obviously.
I think everything happens for a reason. I think Mike is exactly right. I was in a rage. I was so upset. And truth be told, I fought the wrong fight. I would have said, look, I am guilty for this. I am not guilty for these three things. And what I decided to do is I want to take the whole thing on, and it was wrong. Listen, if I come out of my house and there's a 20-mile speed limit and I go 21, I get a ticket, I'm guilty. However, if I go out of my house and kill someone or have a big accident, I'm also guilty. There's a big difference. Right. You're guilty in both, and I went after it the wrong way.
Big, let me say something else. Baseball did things that they were ashamed of. They broke laws. They dealt with people who they should not be dealing with. They're baseball. They shouldn't be getting their hands dirty. They shouldn't be breaking into cars and buying stolen stuff. They got dirty. They got down in the gutter to get them. That was my problem. It was that important for them to get them no matter what they did. And baseball fired a lot of the guys they used on those investigations and even said they got caught using cash when it wasn't even legal for them to use cash the way they did. They were embarrassed by the whole thing, and that was my problem. I took baseball on. And you know what? A lot of people didn't like that. I didn't care. That doesn't bother me. I was just trying to be honest. I never once said, I think A-Rod's innocent. I didn't know if he was innocent or guilty. That's his business. You know what? I've said the same thing about Mike Piazza, Big Papi. I don't know if these guys do steroids or not. If I told you how many players have come up to me and told me about players who I've never mentioned who have done steroids, I could sit here for 5 hours. But you know what? It's something no one ever got a handle on. Baseball looked the other way to rebuild their sport. They knew what was going on. Then all of a sudden, here's what they did. They let everybody get stone drunk and then said, no more booze in this town. And that's exactly what they did after they had already fixed their sport. That's my problem with baseball.